Loaded week of football games in the Big 12 beginning Thursday night, 5:30 Mountain Time. That's 7:30 Eastern on ESPN. Arizona at Texas State. If the Sun Devils win that game, you better look out if you've got them on your schedule this year. Friday, UNLV at Kansas will be a fun game. Arizona at Kansas State, the marquee game of the week. Then you get some under-the-radar ones, or maybe not so under-the-radar, like the Backyard Brawl on Saturday. So Colorado State, also an in-state rivalry. I know the other one isn't, but it's a rivalry. You get the point that I'm going for here. Drake, what's your biggest takeaway after this weekend? What do you think your biggest takeaway is going to be after this slate of football games?
Oh, my biggest takeaway as of today is this weekend is make or break for the Big 12, and it's only going to be break. There is no make. If you beat Texas State or UNLV or Tulsa or Miami of Ohio or North Texas, no one cares. Honestly, Spencer, if you beat Pittsburgh, no one cares. Or Air Force or Colorado State, the country doesn't look at the Big 12 and go, oh, BYU, a road win in Laramie. No one is going to care if the Big 12 wins this week. They're only going to care if they lose. Now, would you be shocked in a world where Texas State beats Arizona State?
No, would not.
Would you be stunned if Miami of Ohio beats Cincinnati?
Not stunned, but a little surprised.
Would you be stunned if Pittsburgh beats West Virginia? I think
no, of course not. No, of course not. That's a coin flip.
We have a lot of coin flip games in the Big 12 this week where the conference could end up with egg on its face. If
Air Force at Baylor, I've seen Air Force beat Baylor before.
31-6 was the score in that one. It was. I
think it was 30-15.
I was there, and it was bad. It was very
not great.
It was like -8 degrees as well. So if Colorado State goes out and pulls up the win, they only care about one game this year, and it's that Colorado game, and Colorado is really beaten up after last week. If Rice goes out and beats Houston, or Wyoming defends Laramie and beats BYU, these are feasible things. Do I think they'll happen? Probably not. But, Spencer, this week, the Big 12 goes to San Marcos, Tulsa, wherever Miami of Ohio is, they go there. We are on the road against Pittsburgh, in Logan, Utah against Utah State. It gets worse. Fort Collins, Colorado, and in Laramie, Wyoming. Why are half the games in this conference on the road, and a good portion of those against mid-major schools? You're setting yourself up for failure in a 12-team playoff format where all you have to do is win your league. Your non-conference should consist of home games against beatable programs, because 11-1, according to the committee we know and love right now, is still 11-1 pretty much no matter who you play.
UCF Let me try
TCBY.
That again.
This can't be yogurt.
Oh my gosh, you know
UCF.
TCBY. I knew we could get along.
Arkansas,
I knew we could get along. I loved TCBY as a kid. I used to go there with my mom and brother after school all the time.
Tell your mama said hello.
Really. Okay. Well, now that we're on that weird note, let me try speaking English here. TCU, UCF.
Yeah.
It feels like a before and after Jeopardy clue. TCUCF. I think this is going to be a really fun football game. I think TCU is one of the most underrated teams in the Big 12. I've been bullish on UCF all offseason. This game is in Fort Worth. I am more than a little excited to see how this one plays out. Rice, Houston, I pray that Houston wins that game. If they don't, they might go 0-12. But give me your prediction here, UCF at TCU.
All right, I get it. I went to Baylor. I get it. I'm not a homer. I will pick against Baylor almost every week because they're not a very good football team. And here, to be completely objective, preseason, this was my pick, and I'm going to stick with it. I've got UCF going into Fort Worth and winning. The last few times I was in Fort Worth watching a football game, the crowd was much improved. Josh Hoover is a pretty good quarterback that people are not giving enough credit to. Has 600 yards, throws for 300 yards almost every time he goes out there. However, the weapons around him aren't proven enough yet, and we know that R.J. Harvey and Kobe Hudson and K.J. Jefferson are good at some respective things. The only reason I'm saying some is because K.J. Jefferson's problem is that the forward pass was invented in 1906. Other than that, UCF has an electric offense, and I've liked their defense so far as well, allowing 3 points against UNH and 14 points against Sam Houston State, which are not truly viable opponents. However, I do believe UCF's the better team. I don't think the crowd for TCU is going to get too much into this one, that UCF has issues, especially now that we have the new helmet stuff. Give me the UCF Knights to win in Fort Worth.
Look, I'm every quarterback this Saturday in college football. Just push your hands against your ears. Let's go rapid fire in the games that people care about here, Drake. Arizona at Texas State. Do the Sun Devils pull it out?
No. No, I have watched GJ Kinney's team very closely since they beat Baylor last year.
They
going to be
throttled, and I mean throttled UTSA, who is a preseason top 3 or 4 favorite in the American Conference, G5 playoff sleeper. That was one of the most under-the-radar impressive performances of the weekend. I think I'm with you on that Texas State pick.
Yeah, I just GJ Kinney is good. Cam Scatterbo is a dark horse for first team All Big 12, a great running back at Arizona State, 265 yards on the ground last week. However, your quarterback Levitt's not that good, and Texas State's just got that kind of firepower. I think the at home short rest, I think the Bobcats sneak one out.
UNLV at Kansas. God help both of us, Drake, if the Jayhawks lose 2 games in a row.
Yeah, Kansas by 10 in this, but we're going to walk away still having a lot of questions about Kansas. If this game finishes 31-21 or 35-24, I'm going to sit in with a cigar and a glass of whiskey and say, oh, Kansas might not be that good this year.
We're going to continue chronologically here. Game of the week in the Big 12, Friday night on Fox, Arizona at Kansas State. I like the Wildcats in this spot.
Spencer made it funny.
See what I did? Give me Kansas State over Arizona. I've not been impressed with the Arizona Wildcats going into this year. I was down on them compared to most. I don't think they're going to push for a Big 12 championship, and this is a non-conference game. Correct me if I am incorrect there, but I think Arizona goes in, suffers their first loss of the year.
Happy September 13th. It's an elimination game, Spencer. That is the problem. You will not get an at-large bid to the college football playoff if you lose this game, and it's week 3. It is a massive matchup for both of these schools. Because of that, Kansas State exposes the Arizona defense. Give me Avery Johnson, Chris Kleiman, and company.
Does Cincinnati lose to Miami of Ohio and increase the chatter surrounding their head coach?
Yep, Cincinnati is not going to win this week. The only thing keeping Scott Satterfield in Cincinnati is that buyout. They'll lose to Miami of Ohio, who got a Big 12 win last season. I should also note Cincinnati, the way they lost to Pittsburgh, demoralizing, and that's not going to help them in this week's game.
Texas Tech bounced back against North Texas.
North Texas scores over 30 points in this game. That's the one lock that I have because Texas Tech's defense is out.
Horrible.
The entire defense is just out this week, and Baron Morton is still not where I want him to be. I think North Texas definitely covers 10. If Tech wins, skin of your teeth, but I have nothing on paper right now to trust Texas Tech with.
I've got Utah over Utah State. I've also got Baylor over Air Force. Any objections there?
Preseason, I picked Air Force to win this game. I think Air Force is much worse than expected. They have roster turnover every year because those students go literally fight for the United States to keep our freedom. However, I still think it's too early for Air Force to put it together. Baylor wins. It's sloppy. The offense is bad again, and Air Force runs all over them. But in like a 21-19 game that no one enjoys watching, I throw up all over myself, and the Bears win.
Backyard brawl, West Virginia at Pitt. I'm going Mountaineers here against Pitt. I think the Panthers got lucky last week to come back and win against Cincinnati. I think West Virginia is a better team.
Give me the better team and the better roster. Give me Neil Brown. This is a Neil Brown coaching for your job game. West Virginia wins it. Again, I wouldn't be shocked if it's ugly, but the Mountaineers pull it off and can still salvage an 8 or 9 win season with a tough schedule.
You already picked TCU to lose to UCF. I'm going with the Horned Frogs there at home. I'm impressed with Josh Hoover to this point. Colorado at Colorado State. I'm going with the Buffs. I know a lot of people are going to want to take the Rams here because they're at home. It's in Fort Collins, but I have got the Buffs getting a win.
Yeah, I don't know if this Rams team is as good as they were last year, and maybe the biggest tell that I'm basing that off of is the Texas game, 52-0, but Texas might be the best team in the country. The reason I'm going with Colorado State in this one is because I still don't have trust in Deion Sanders from a culture standpoint of teams to have his team ready for this game, whereas Colorado State has circled one game and one game only on their schedule. Fort Collins will be as rocking as it can be, and Colorado State, who's prepared for this, will get the win against an unprepared Colorado team.
Rice at Houston and BYU at Wyoming. I'm going with the Owls here, violating Josh Pate's rule number 1, don't lose to food. I think Houston will lose to food this week. I think they emptied a lot of the tank last week against Oklahoma in a surprisingly great performance from Willie Fritz's team. And I think BYU's playing some pretty nice football right now. I was impressed they went into Dallas and got the win against SMU. Not a brutal road environment to go into, but I like the way the Cougars are playing. Wyoming looks like they are way, way down. It's a first-year head coach, and it's not going well in Laramie at this point. So give me BYU and give me Rice out of the American.
Oh, geez. TV Guide. Okay, yep. The paint drying competition is at 8 p.m. Eastern time on. Oh, I'm going to miss the Rice and Houston game. Paint's got to be
too
drying.
bad. That's too bad.
Give me both teams to lose, all of the watchers to also lose, and Houston beats Rice by 2 points. Final score 2-0.
You think BYU loses to Wyoming?
Gutsy too. I do believe the BYU will beat Wyoming. This game is not. I think Wyoming does cover. Laramie night game. Wyoming is bad. How you say bad at football this year, and BYU is improved compared to where we thought they would be. BYU wins, but again, I think we'll have a sloppy week in the Big 12, but a whole lot of winners.
That's everything you could possibly need to know about the Big 12 this week. Drake Toll, Locked On Big 12. Drake, appreciate it as always.
Hey, thanks.
You're very, very welcome. Appreciate everyone listening. I will see you next time. And until then, hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.